going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, I wanted to explain to you guys why I believe the Vikings had a perfect offseason and why this man right here, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, absolutely knocked it out of the park. But before we dive into that, I need everybody to take a second and take a sip of this right here, the purple Kool-Aid, and show off your purple pride down in the comments section and give me a SKOL down below. And I'll just be honest, if you're not an optimistic Vikings fan, if you're not sipping this purple Kool-Aid, this is probably not the video for you. As you know, if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, I'm a very optimistic person, and I'm very optimistic about this football team, and that's what this show today is all going to be about. So give me a SKOL down in the chat and show off your purple pride. But so my take on the Vikings offseason is I think it went perfectly, and I think it went, just like Kwesi probably had a plan, mapped out before the offseason started. And so I wanted to go back and I just wanted to look at all the smart decisions I believe that the Vikings did make. And you know what? Again, like I was saying, if you're not an optimistic fan and you're not putting a little bit of this in your drink right now, probably should click off today's show. But let's go back and look at the smart decisions that Kwesi has made. So number one, he didn't overpay for Kirk Cousins. We got reports that came out that it came down to guaranteed dollars and length of the contract for Kirk Cousins. They didn't want to match that 4-year, $180 million deal that the Falcons offered him. But I do think this. I think the Vikings could have overpaid Kirk Cousins, and he would 100% have stayed. That's why I was still shocked. When I was making my predictions before the year started, I thought Kirk Cousins was going to come back, and I thought it was going to be on a team-friendly deal, but, he didn't agree to the guaranteed money that the Vikings were offering him. But I think there's no doubt about it. If the Vikings offered Kirk the same deal that Atlanta did, Kirk would have signed here in a heartbeat. So they had the chance to bring number 8 back, but they decided it was time to move on. And I 100% agree with that. It was time to move on in Minnesota. It was time for a breath of fresh air. It was time to turn that page and get to the next chapter of the Vikings kind of franchise. And, now we're sitting and we're looking, we're like, man, we got a young quarterback. We made all these additions on defense, and, it's just a very optimistic future right now for the Vikings where, if you had Kirk Cousins, you're probably a better football team this upcoming year. No doubt about it. I bet you the Vikings, their win total right now is at 6.5. I bet you would have probably been around 9.5 or 10.5 even with Kirk Cousins as QB1. But it was time to move on. It was time to get that fresher breath air, and I just think it was a great move for the Minnesota Vikings. But also number 2 here, the Vikings dominated free agency this past season, and they made countless numbers of moves that I absolutely loved. Talk about it specifically on defense, like the players they brought in, because if we're being honest, there was a huge lack of talent on that side of the football. So what did Kwesi do? He hit it hard in free agency. We lost Danielle Hunter. Bam. Signed Jonathan Greenard to a 4-year mega deal. We needed even more edge help. We got Andrew Van Ginkel. We got Blake Cashman to be that linebacker next to Ivan Pace. And then obviously we needed cornerback help. What did they do? They went and signed Shaq Griffin. And I think back to this clip from Moneyball when Brad Pitt was trying to figure out how he was going to replace Jason Giambi. And you know how they talked about it? They said, we don't need to replace Jason Giambi. We need to replace the 30 home runs, 120 RBIs that he gave to this ball club. It was very similar to how the Vikings attacked the Danielle Hunter situation. We said, hey, we need to replace those 15.5 to 20 sacks he gets us every year. What did they do? Dallas Turner, Jonathan Greenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, but other free agency moves from Minnesota. Can't hype this up enough. Aaron frickin' Jones, man. And this is going to be one of those moves where it's going to be late November and Aaron Jones is killing it. And we're going to be like, yeah, that was probably one of the best moves of the NFL offseason. The numbers overall from last season look like he had a down year, but he was in and out of the lineup due to injury. And when he came back from week 16 to the divisional round, he was the best running back in the National Football League. And the thing I love about this signing the most is that chip he's going to have on his shoulder to stick it to Green Bay, as they didn't just let him walk. They brought in another running back to replace him in Josh Jacobs. This dude's going to be playing with his hair on fire this season. And I just thought it was a great move by Kwesi to bring him in. But another former Green Bay Packer that they brought in, who apparently was absolutely killing it at Vikings minicamp, Robert Tonyan. Alec Lewis of The Athletic, he's great. Give him a follow on Twitter. He tweeted out after day 3 of Vikings minicamp that Tonyan has been absolutely dominating. And, I was talking to our Bears Now host, Harrison Graham, about Tonyan as he was with Chicago last season, and he was just honest. He said it was a down year for him, was not the same guy he was in Green Bay, but, also the Bears, they had Justin Fields at quarterback last season. They had one of the worst passing attacks in the NFL. I want to see what Tonyan's going to do next to the likes of Jefferson, of Addison, and also with TJ Hockenson reportedly going to miss at least the first 6 weeks of the season. He has a true chance to be the number 1 pass-catching option at that tight end spot. And I think with the combination of him, Josh Oliver, even when TJ Hockenson is out, they're going to be able to maintain. But another just, minuscule move that Kwesi made that is really going to pay dividends once this season gets underway. Now, I do want to talk about Sam Darnold here because I feel like people are, again, undervaluing who Sammy D is as a quarterback. And, I call him a bridge quarterback here, and that's 100% what he was brought in to do. But if you don't think Sam Darnold is starting week 1 for the Minnesota Vikings, you are going to be very surprised. Because let's look at his contract right here. So they give him a $6.25 million signing bonus, $2.5 million in base salary, $1 million in per-game incentives, and only a $250,000 workout bonus. What is this telling me right here? The Vikings plan on playing him a lot. This is a true $10 million that Sam Darnold is getting. And, I just think at the Vikings, maybe if it was a guy like, another bridge quarterback, like Joe Flacco, then I think J.J. McCarthy would have had a better chance to start week 1. But Sam Darnold, he's 26 years old, and it's also a big reason why I believe in him. And, look back at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't start his first game until he was 25 years old. Even Jordan Love started when he was 24. Sam Darnold, I feel like people are just automatically, writing him off and saying he's a bust in the NFL. And listen, if you look at the tape, you look at what he's done in his career, I don't blame you at all. But this is the best support system he is going to be playing with since he came into the NFL. And also, he was a top 3 pick for a reason. He was a very, very hyped up prospect coming out of USC, big body, has the dual threat ability. He just has had so many hills and valleys in his game where he wasn't really able to, play to that top 3 pick hype that he had. But also, I love this. He's coming from San Francisco. And I just think, in sports and also in life, people are such a product of their environment without even knowing. There's I forget who said it, but it's you are, you're a little bit of, or you're a little piece of all of your best friends. And I think that could even speak true to the NFL, where it's he was around Kyle Shanahan. He was around John Lynch, some of the smartest football minds in the entire league. He got that tutelage from him. So I think we're going to be seeing the best version of him. And then also, 2 guys who, different career paths, but could have similar resurgences, Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff. They left their team who they drafted them, or they left the team that drafted them. Went to another team, absolutely killed it. Turned into a Pro Bowler. Led their team to playoff victories. Am I saying Sam Darnold's going to do that? Obviously, we'll have to wait and see, but I could easily see that being the case for Sammy D. Now, number 4 for me, as on my list of smart decisions Kwesi has made, these 2 guys. 2 first-round picks, J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner. And the thing I love most about these 2 selections, they're both 21 years old. And you were able to get face of the franchise players on both sides of the ball at premium positions. If I had to power rank most important positions in the NFL, number 1, quarterback, no doubt about it. Number 2 for me, it's probably edge rusher. And if you go look at what the Houston Texans did last season with them taking C.J. Stroud at 2, Will Anderson at 3, they got their quarterback of the future, they got their edge rusher of the future, and they're just going to keep on getting better. Will J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner live up to that type of hype that those 2 had? I don't know. We'll obviously have to wait and see on that one. But, hey, both Big Ten quarterbacks, both edge rushers from Alabama. I love the direction that the Vikings chose to take with these picks. And the thing I love about this the most, they are not going to have, so much on their plate in the rookie year. J.J. McCarthy, more likely than not, won't play a snap during his rookie season. Dallas Turner, you already have 2 great edge rushers in front of him in Greenard and Van Ginkel. So you won't be putting, saying, hey, you're going to be our number one choice and you're going to be getting double teamed. He's just going to be able to come in and work on himself. That's why I love these two moves so much. And also, we heard all the reports about the Vikings trading up into the top 3, top 5. They only had to trade up to pick number 10 to land J.J. McCarthy. And then they were lucky enough to land Dallas Turner at pick 17. Both those were just absolutely fantastic. And then the last move, clap it up for that one. They extended Justin Jefferson. This was just a move that needed to get done. And in my opinion, it was a great deal. Yes, you did make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the National Football League. But you locked him up for 4 years. And I promise you, when we're looking at this contract in 2026, yes, $39 million for a wide receiver, that's insane. But, with the salary cap going up and with guys like Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb going to get deals, I could see Jefferson being the second or third highest paid wide receiver. But these next 2 seasons, and that's why I expect the Vikings to be ultra aggressive, especially next free agency. They lowered his cap hit this year from $19 to $9 million. And then next season, he's only making $15 million. I could see the Vikings viewing next year as a Super Bowl kind of window for this ball club. Obviously, it comes down a lot of it to J.J. McCarthy if he's going to take that step. But the Vikings are going to have a ton of cap space heading into next season. You already spent a lot this past free agency. I could see them doing it again and just creating the San Francisco 49er type of feel to this roster. Now, to conclude, my thoughts on the Vikings offseason. Yes, if we would have kept Kirk Cousins, we would have been a better football team this season. But the Vikings have set themselves up to be one of the best teams in the NFL in 2 years. And it could be next season. Like if J.J. McCarthy, if he takes that leap and it's like, oh, snap, we got a dude from Michigan, yeah, maybe next year the Vikings are going to be a hell of a football team competing for Super Bowls. But when J.J. is on years 3, 4, and 5 of that rookie contract, and the Vikings have built this stacked 53-man roster around him, and you got Kevin O'Connell, and you got Brian Flores, it could be magic here in Minnesota, and maybe the Vikings will lift that Lombardi Trophy for the first time in franchise history. But you guys let me know. I want you guys to grade the Vikings offseason for me, A, B, C, D, or F. You guys just heard anything I just said. You guys probably know I'm giving this an A+. But hey, maybe you guys disagree with me. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, guys, follow me on Twitter. That's the handle right there, @PatSeeps. Would really, really appreciate it if you guys could do so. But again, optimistic video today. Hopefully you guys had your purple Kool-Aid right next to you as, I decided to take a positive outlook on the Vikings offseason. So see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. As always, SKOL Vikes.